Today on Marvel Movie News, we're going to get into Spider-Man Far From Home with no spoilers because some of us in the room haven't seen it yet, but some of us did and they have reactions to it. Plus, lots of leaks for Black Widow. Who was that mysterious villain riding in a tank? We'll throw out our predictions. And even more news, including some Doctor Doom stuff from Noah Hawley. Let's talk about it today on Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Good afternoon to you, our merry Marvelites. This is the Marvel Movie News coming to you live from Spoiler.
Very true.
Because this is a non-spoiler-free, this is a spoiler-free zone.
That's
I
right.
always screw it up.
Yeah.
Be like, non-spoiler-free. No, wait, that's the... There's a spoiler-free zone.
That's
Christian and Zia.
I know.
Christian and Zia were lucky enough to see Spider-Man Far From Home last night.
We did.
While I was at work.
How the tables have turned. This is really exciting.
We
for
let
me.
Zia do something fun.
They let me go out of the house, guys.
No, we play. We kid.
Yes, obviously we're joking,
Yeah.
but this is usually it's Zach and I get to go to the movie while Zia's stuck working. And
I probably should have been working. Now I'm really behind on stuff.
by the way, clearly I'm never working because I'm like, yeah, I can go to the movie. It's fine.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of stuff to do today. I'm Zach Wilson. We got Xia Anderson.
Hi, guys.
Christian Bladt.
Hello.
The gang's here. A lot to dive into today. A bunch of rumors, a bunch of fun stuff we want to review and talk about because there's so much Marvel going on right now, you guys. Not even talking about what's coming up next year or in the fall or all that.
Right now.
Just within the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
New Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
We have Legion just dropped its premiere on us on Monday night. Jessica Jones released its final season. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still airing. There's so much going on.
I don't even have time to watch all of these shows. I'm like just trying to get caught up on Jessica Jones. I'm like, I need to watch Legion. I just got caught up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's so much. Spidey.
There's a ton. And plus, I still want to read the comic books. You
I
guys.
know.
So I'm months behind on my comic book reading.
Don't even get me started.
But what do you say we talk about some of the news for this week? And we're going to start off with your guys' reaction, your spoiler-free reaction to Spider-Man Far From Home.
And we have a great tweet from Charles Lee that we have to read out because it's before we get into it.
Yeah, so Charles Lee, who is always in the chat, he also tweeted at us, which I thought was great because,
I liked
we love the engagement, and we always give you our Twitter handles at the end of the show, so you can always keep in touch with us. So Charles Lee, responding to the fact that I posted a photo of Z and I at the movie last night, and that we were going to give our spoiler-free, no spoiler review today. This is what Charles Lee said. I'm not sure if Zia will keep quiet. Months ago, check the footage if you don't believe me. She begged for Endgame spoilers.
That's true. That's
and now, that's completely accurate. And now, with her rocking a shirt saying, I solemnly swear that I am up to no good, she's going to keep mum on this? Just saying. Zia, how do you respond to these allegations?
I mean, okay, look. I like getting spoilers. I don't like giving them. I'm not an a-hole. I'm not going to be like, screw you guys, I'm telling you everything. I just like to know things because for me it makes it more exciting to see it. I know it's super weird, but I'm not going to give you any spoilers, I
there's
swear.
4 things in my head right now that I could ruin the movie for people, but I will not.
No.
That said, I'm one of those people who likes to go into a rabbit hole before these movies, and I'm just like, no, don't tell me anything about it. So while you guys talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm going to go onto my laptop and watch Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse,
You got a whole new set of headphones.
which just came out on Netflix
at
for
that.
those of you in the U.S. So you guys have fun. I'm gonna be over here.
All right. We'll make sure that Zach's okay. And look,
Yeah.
seriously, we're not going to spoil anything, but we are going to talk about the movie. Zia, why don't you just go first? Overall thoughts on the movie.
All right, I just have one thing to say before we jump in. Oh, I love Led Zeppelin.
Okay. What else?
It was so fun. It was one of those movies that I just honestly think it's really like what we needed after Endgame, because that movie was like, I cried 3 times. It's ridiculous.
There were some laughs in Endgame.
There were, but it was just there was so much sadness and just goodness and heart. It was amazing. But this I feel like is just like a nice little break. It had a couple of sad moments but for the most part, like we laughed a lot.
And I was saying this before the show. I laughed more in Spider-Man: Far From Home than I think any
What's
comedy.
up, Danger?
I think any comedy that I've seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah, no,
it's so
I
funny
agree.
throughout. And look, there's some heartfelt stuff. You've seen it in the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, it's a lot of dealing with the fact that Tony's gone, and you can see how that weighs on Peter. And I think
Tom
we get
Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah,
Just good, just such great acting. Like he's such a good actor. It's so impressive.
He conveys the anguish of what we're talking about, but also he's just so funny and so awkward at talking to girls and interacting with other humans.
Humans.
Yeah, I think that he does a great job. Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic. He's been threatened to be in a Spider-Man movie for a long time.
Finally, we got him.
Well, yeah, ever since Tobey Maguire was quote-unquote sick and was holding out for a bigger paycheck, they threatened to recast him with Jake Gyllenhaal. Well, look at this. We finally get him as Mysterio.
Hell yeah, get it, Miles.
That's right. Miles is not in the movie. But
Damn straight. What?
That might not be a spoiler. That might be a spoiler, I guess. I'm sorry if people were thinking Miles might be in it. But anyway.
He's not.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think everybody's good. Look, Sam Jackson's in the movie. He's going to always deliver. As
He's
Nick
always
Fury.
great. Yeah.
Who else comes to mind?
Well, there's some people that. No spoilers. Okay.
No spoilers.
No, there's some exciting stuff at the end that you're like,
well, yeah, we'll talk about that in a
cool.
second. So here's something that, for me, I thought MJ was fine in the first movie. She was really much more of a side character because
he didn't like her.
Well, Peter was much more focused on Liz in that movie.
Right.
And I just didn't like the tone, but we get a lot of MJ in this, and I think she's great. I think Zendaya does a great job. I love the scenes with her and Peter. I'm never going to get the Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone connection that I got from those 2 movies. I just feel like that's going to be the pinnacle of Peter Parker relationships.
I agree.
But I do think that they're great together. And I like the scenes that we have with the 2 of them.
I always like Ned. He's always one of my favorites. And he was great in the last one. He's great in this one.
Ned continues to be amazing.
Yes.
I love Ned.
The sidekick that Peter needs.
He's the sidekick that Peter needs and the one he deserves.
Yes.
And there are some interesting twists and turns along the way in the movie, but obviously we're not going to get into any of that.
Nope, nothing.
But
nothing.
It's just so much fun,
It's enjoyable.
As great as Endgame was, like Zia was saying. It wasn't fun, except for maybe here and there. On the whole, that wasn't my word for Endgame.
No,
but
it was
this
amazing.
is just so much fun. And I can't wait for everybody to see it because there's so much to talk about. But there's also, I know that these are a little spoilery, but people always want to know, do I stick around for the credits? Yes. Absolutely.
And
stick
to the
around
very end.
Not
like
just,
the very end.
You have to go.
You have to.
Get to a point where you think there maybe won't be a scene. You have to stick around. There is a mid-credit scene and an end-credit scene. I'm just telling you right now. There were people at the screening last night who got up and left. And look, there are people who probably just write articles and they probably are like, superhero movies aren't good, but I saw it for free. And they probably already had their review finished in their head. It's like a different movie because of the end scenes.
Yes, it's actually very important to stay.
It's just great. It's just these little extra things that the movie was great before the credits started, and then just this extra thing where like that's all we want to talk about right now.
I want to talk about it so badly. You guys don't understand. I can hold out for a week.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
So that's kind of, it's really hard to talk about. I know, Zia, you're usually the one who sits there.
I know.
While we do all of this, but are you finding it difficult to not talk about?
Yes, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. Usually I just sit there and you guys are like, it's good, it's great. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then now I have to sit here and be like, it's good, it's great, damn it.
Hard-boiled turtle slapper.
Oh, also, there was a really funny moment. That I laughed probably the hardest I think I've ever laughed.
Well, it's just, you can say what the word is that made you laugh.
Web shooter.
It just,
and when you see it, you'll know why.
I've never heard her laugh that hard. And
really funny.
It was so funny.
It was really funny.
So people in the chat are just sort of figuring it out. So the release is Tuesday, July 2nd. It's not one of those deals where like you can go late on the 1st and see it because it's a Tuesday. You just go on the 2nd. That's my understanding. Now, maybe your local theater, I don't know. But the spoilers are starting to creep out there, though. I've seen a couple. So
be careful on the internet,
stay frosty,
guys.
everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, Zeno Hour says, stop leaving during the credits of an MCU movie. Good
I've
Lord.
talked to people
seriously.
who do that.
Like, what?
And some of them will leave after one end credit scene. I'm like, but have you ever seen one of these?
There's always something. Why are you leaving?
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see it again. I'll be on vacation next week with my family, but my wife and I are going to duck out while the in-laws watch the kid, and my wife has not seen it, so I'll be very excited to get to experience it again. And we're in the process. We'll bring Zach back in. Zach, you can take off the cone of silence.
The cone of silence.
It's a Get Smart reference.
Well,
No, she didn't know.
I did not.
She's like, what? That's TV.
I hope you guys had fun.
We did. We had fun.
It was a fun time.
No free popcorn like Dark Phoenix. So, on that level,
just meant talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Talking about it, too.
And I hope you guys enjoyed that dumb gag that we came up with.
Could you really hear nothing we were saying?
No, I heard you guys lecture people on not leaving during the credits.
Well, because how do you still do
though.
it? Even if you're a critic and you don't like superhero movies, you're going to have more to write about. Believe me, when you see it, you're going to have more to write about.
Yeah.
So I guess, Zach, we're figuring out when we're going to have our spoiler-filled review, but it looks like we have a day at the moment.
We don't know the exact time,
Yes.
but teasers for that, it's going to be because next Thursday is July 4th.
And we love America. We don't hate America, so we're not working that day.
Debatable, but we're not going to get into that.
It's my anniversary. That's all I care about.
But July 4th, the studio's dark that day.
Yes.
We want to give our the wonderful staff the day off. They can go home and sleep for a change.
Yeah. Regardless of how you feel about the country, we love the staff here at Popcorn Talk and AfterBuzz.
Yeah. So we're not getting political today. So we are going to reschedule the show, but we want to do it as soon as possible. The movie comes out on Tuesday, July 2nd, across the world, I believe.
I think so. I think it is day and date.
And then, so on Sunday, July 7th, we are going to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, and we're going to have a special old friend, an amazing old friend, a spectacular old friend joining us in the studio.
A web of old friend? Because you said amazing, spectacular. A Marvel team up? Hey, that's not so bad.
Yeah, you could say it's
All
a
right,
team
that's
up.
a Marvel team up. Yeah.
We are going. Coy Jandra is going to be back in studio with us. Who else could we possibly ask to talk about Spider-Man with than Coy?
I'm guessing he gets very excited about Spider-Man.
Yes, you could say that.
Okay.
He was a few rows, but I did see him at the theater. I didn't interact with him because of where the seating was, but he did look like he enjoyed it.
Coy's already seen it twice. He was at the London premiere, like the premiere.
Wow.
What?
Last week, yeah, he's doing some awesome stuff. He just, I think they're doing an episode of the show Comic Book Shopping, which is on Collider with Mr. Gyllenhaal. So yeah, check out Coy's stuff. Coy will be joining us not this Sunday, but the next Sunday after Spider-Man is released in theaters for our next episode of Marvel Movie News, and I'm very much looking forward to that and to seeing the movie next Tuesday as soon as it comes out. I'm also prepping for that. Are you guys? I'm curious because we finally are getting towards Endgame's re-release.
Yes.
It was weird all week. None of the theaters would publish times of when it was going to happen. I think the theaters were caught off guard.
I kept looking.
And they finally, AMC finally started putting some stuff in yesterday and today for showtimes this weekend. Are you guys going back to the theater?
I want to, this weekend. I'm planning on doing it on Saturday, so.
Yeah, I want
see
to,
it.
but I won't be able to do it before our next show. That's for sure, because I'll be on vacation and I'm getting one movie, and that's Far From Home.
Oh, so this time me and Zach can talk about our
That's fine.
and then
That's
but yeah, I have a ticket to go see it tomorrow because
Nice.
I'm
Cool.
off work for the holidays.
what is that like? Tell me of the world, Zach.
Hashtag freelance woe. But so I'm gonna go check it out just because I want to. Why not? And I want to see it before I see Spider-Man again because I get to follow the lead into it. So I'm curious if you guys, once it comes out, if you're gonna see it, let us know. Send us a tweet. Let us know what you thought of the extra footage. I'll report back in when I know what it is and whether I think it's worth spending your $18 to see.
Or if you have movie passes, then definitely go see it, because who cares?
Oh, I got AMC A-list.
Heck
I'm
yes.
good. I'm good. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Black Widow, you guys, because Black Widow, the completely unconfirmed Kevin Feige, definitely not saying anything. I don't know what this movie. What are you talking about? That's not happening. It's still adding to its cast as Ray Winstone joins the fray. You may have seen him in The Departed. He's a character actor. He's been in hundreds of different projects, but he's joining the project in an undisclosed role. That's a quick rumor. There were tons of photos that are starting to come out because they're filming in Europe, and maybe they're filming in big locations, so they can't control the access to these areas as well.
Right.
Fun fact, they're currently shooting in Budapest.
Wait a minute.
What? Finally? Are we going to see something?
Apparently, we might get Budapest, or it could be a return to Budapest. We don't know.
Fine, I don't care. Just give me something. Give me a friggin' flashback. I don't
with
care.
Budapest.
Just anything with Budapest. I want to know.
But
For the love of God.
So there were a number of things that came out. Like people got pictures of a chair with the film's like working logo on it, which is pretty much just what you would expect. It's like white text Black Widow with the Black Widow symbol in the middle of it. I didn't even feel like showing it to you guys because people took those photos. It's their photos. But I wanted to show you this one photo that was posted by I can't read it from here. At
OK Banana.
At OK Banana took
name.
these photos reportedly from the Black Widow set in Budapest. Ooh. And they're photos of supposedly the villain of the Black Widow movie. And I don't know how to feel about this look. I hope it's fake. No, I mean, this is clear. So it's a clear look. There's a foam rubber suit going on here. Yeah. There's some big things. To be honest, whatever this is looks like a Power Rangers villain.
Wait, what if she's fighting the Power Rangers? Or teaming up?
Teaming up with the Power Rangers.
I think she'd be on the wrong side of the Power Rangers.
It reminds me of, what was it, like Zord, or what was their main bad guy on the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? I have such a bad memory for this.
It's not Frieza, right? That's a different...
No, that's DBZ.
Man, I'm getting mine mixed up.
But either way, it's irrelevant. It looks silly and foam rubber in this photo. Here's the thing. Marvel is when you see a set photo, think about anything you've seen on a green screen. Think about when you saw the behind the scenes photos and you saw Mark Ruffalo in Endgame stuff. Like, he's in checkered pattern suit with a big rig on him. They can do wonders with CGI, and you never know how they're going to enhance this in post-production. I just don't know what I'm looking at. So here's the rumors are mainly I want to talk about who you think this character might be. The two ones that stick out to me, because people have listed a whole bunch of theories. Taskmaster, which was already a rumor for this movie, and that seems like a good front runner. You can see how there's a vague image of a skull that could be a skull mask in this.
Right.
Taskmaster is one that makes sense for the Black Widow movie. Somebody who can match your fighting skills, but otherwise isn't necessarily superpower enhanced.
Right.
Is a perfect foil for somebody like Black Widow, who is not an enhanced individual, is just really freaking good at what she does, which is why Black Widow is such a badass.
Love it.
Do you guys? What do you think? Do you think Taskmaster is a potential option?
I mean, yeah, for basically just all the reasons you said, it makes the most sense, because it would be kind of ridiculous. You ever see those team-ups, or not team-ups, or fights where you're like, I don't know how this person is holding up to this. This is ridiculous. I don't want to get that. I don't want to get where we're like, okay, come on. There's no way that she could hold her own against this particular villain. So, yeah, I kind of hope it's something more like that. It definitely makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think it's that type of character for sure. I think Taskmaster does make the most sense because of the fact that she's great. Scarlet Johansson.
Scarlet Witch is great too.
Yeah, she's also great as Black Widow. Natasha's fantastic, but if it's even a moderately powered individual, it's going to be a pretty short fight. So that's why I think, like we've been talking about for weeks, the idea that it's Taskmaster is very exciting. Seeing this, I'm not going to let it temper my excitement, but I have some questions. And by the way, we have everyone in the chat telling us they think you were thinking of Lord Zed with 2 Ds.
Or Rita Repulsa. That's who I was trying to think of.
Fair.
This specifically reminds me of Lord Zed,
Right.
is what I was talking about. The other character that people have thrown out there is it's not necessarily a villain, but it really looks like these photos in a weird way, which is Darkhawk.
Oh, right.
From like Darkhawk has been a somewhat background character since he had his own like series that ran for a while. 50 issues, I think, was the original Darkhawk
50?
run. 50, 50. And that's a lot. That's a lot of issues. That's a lot. Generally more of a hero character, has been a member of the New Warriors, or has at least appeared in the books. I to be honest, I'm not super familiar with Darkhawk. I haven't read his books.
I haven't read any of them.
I've definitely seen comics that he's in, but I didn't read his standalone comic. Not at all, yeah.
But according to Wikipedia, because I didn't have time to like read a bunch of Darkhawk books, so I had to just do some research. He's basically essentially a cyborg.
Okay.
So a lot of like there's techno-organic construct is the phrase that's used. If you want to adapt it into the MCU, he's a cyborg. You could there's somebody who could have robotic enhancements and that kind of stuff. I could see Black Widow outsmarting.
Yeah, she could handle that for sure.
Because even if they are enhanced strength to be above her, she's smart enough to find ways to attack a vulnerable system, whether it's through hacking or
setting traps,
electrifying the system so it fries out the circuits. There's a bunch of cool ways that somebody without powers could take down a cyborg that are real that don't feel like you're forcing your hero into an advantageous position. So those are the 2 frontrunners. Did you guys have any other thoughts or chat? Did this photo set off any other characters in your mind? It's a weird looking photo.
It definitely reminds me of a action figure, but like not the good action figure. You know, the crappy action figure that your parents bought you because it was cheaper instead of the one you wanted.
So like when you want Transformers and you get GoBots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
We have an outside the box thought from Jenna James. It doesn't look like Taskmaster. The only villain with similar abilities with Taskmaster is Chameleon. He's a Spidey villain though. But it's always somebody to think about.
That would be interesting to see, because we don't know the exact wording of the Sony Disney deal with Spider-Man. Right. So how his rogues gallery and side characters all fall into place in terms of what the MCU can use is a question.
Can you imagine how thick those agreements are of just like you can use this and this and you can't use this and you can use this if you use this?
Well, I've heard that actually it can be they're not that thick, and that's where they run into certain problems is because they didn't specify. They just said that you can have the. So when it was Fox, you had the issues of you can use the Fantastic Four characters, you can use the X-Men characters, and then it raised a bunch of questions on, well, what are the Skrulls?
Right.
All those smaller, obviously, like the main cast of the Fantastic Four, anyone with the name Richards, Fox gets to use. Anyone that lived, any of the original X-Men gets to be used, but then you get into Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which launched a huge legal dispute because they started out as X-Men, but their primary runs are all in the Avengers. That's where their bulk of their stories come from, and it got into a lot of other things. So Sony and Marvel are now working together, so there's a little more friendliness, but they're still rival studios to a certain degree, and they're not going to give up valuable property for nothing.
The only other good one in the chat that is different than what we're saying, Anthony Manzano talking about outside the box, Red Skull. And if they want to explain that away, please do, because sure, I'd love to see him in another movie if they can make it make sense.
Somehow I don't think they can.
I
was really trying to think about that.
Chilling on Vormir for a while.
Yeah.
Michael B points out it could be Omega Red, which is another character that's been a villain. Just because we're looking for the characters that this looks like doesn't mean it's going to be exactly what we expected. Omega Red, which is a Russian, it's like a mech suit that Omega Red is wearing, correct?
Yeah.
That could be a mech suit. That could be the base for a CGI like version of an Iron Man type of armor. And that could be Omega Red. If we're going back to Eastern Europe and Russia to get into Black Widow's origin story, Omega Red is a perfect choice. It makes a lot of sense.
It'd be really great if they just put that out there as a decoy and it has nothing to do with anything at all.
Well, that's why I'm looking. I'm like, this doesn't look like anything. What in the, it looks so silly. Maybe they were just another movie filming nearby.
That would be hilarious.
Because it's not like
completely different.
It's not like the filming truck said Black Widow on the side of it, and nothing that was in those photos necessarily was like branded as. There was no S.H.I.E.L.D. logo that I could see.
Yeah.
Could be from Die Hard 6. You know, maybe they're filming in Budapest.
I kind of
Do we
wish
have
it was
Die Hard 5?
Yes, it was in Russia.
I would, however, see Die Hard 6 if that was a still from it.
I would see Die Hard
So
6
no.
regardless of any stills that I saw from it.
Anyway, let's keep moving forward because I want to talk about, because there was one other rumor with Black Widow that this one's a little bit of a fast one, but somebody had a photo of some wardrobe boxes that I think were supposedly inside there were the body doubles, like the fake bodies that represented characters, so that if you do like a big spill like off a motorcycle, for example, you can just throw fake bodies along and not hurt people.
Nice. What?
Because there's only so much that you can do with a stunt double, and there's only if you can pull off practical, great. But they were labeled Natasha Romanoff and Yelena Baranova, the second character to carry the Black Widow name. Depending on the canon, it could be an earlier version of the character or a successor, a character that has been a villain, has been a hero, depending on when you're looking at. Are you guys excited at the potential of having Yelena Baranova in the Black Widow movie?
I think if we get multiple Black Widows, that's just going to be.
It seems almost inevitable, right?
I think to tell her story, I think we have to meet some of them. Yeah, for sure.
I would like to see Black Widow fighting a Black Widow.
Fair.
That would be awesome.
Well, you might get to see it.
I hope so.
Maybe we'll get a leak still of that.
This is now I've lost track of all my rumors. This is the one that Emma Watson's going to be in, correct? No?
No?
I don't think I heard that.
Okay, so that's a different movie.
So
So not that one.
is she rumored to be in any Marvel movies?
I thought so. Now I'm like
I think you just want
forgetting.
Harry Potter actors in
I
every
think that
movie.
is what I'm doing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just casting them myself, and I'm like, this is what she's going to be in.
Oh, I think I mispronounced the name. It's Yelena Belova.
Oh, no.
How dare you, Zach? What a faux pas.
I'm so sorry. The one thing that this does bring into it would be interesting if it is Yelena Belova. Technically, that character has appeared in an MCU property before, on Agent Carter.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
I never watched Agent
Now
Carter.
look, Zia.
Gamer Girl says yes, Natasha versus Dottie, which I believe was her.
That was her
cover
nickname.
story or-
That's her nickname. Her cover story. I don't want to. This would be the first case, really, of the MCU contradicting a Marvel TV show.
Yeah.
That much. Yes, there are things that don't necessarily line up all the way, but this would be you guys did it, but we're bigger.
Yeah.
So we're taking it. And you could argue that two people have the same name.
Yeah, true.
This would be two people that came from the same agency, as that's what was set up as she went undercover with the SSR.
All right, so Byron Broomhead and Langley M. Neely are saying that Zia's right. Emma Watson is rumored for Black Widow. I don't even think we talked about that on the show.
No,
so
that's why I
and
knew.
couldn't
I
find
think we
anything.
did talk about it on the show.
But Xeno Hour shoots you down. First rumored, she is not. So
Damn it.
let's close the book on that
So she was rumored, and then they just pulled the rug out from under me.
just now.
Yeah, I mean, look, we heard tons of rumors, but there was nothing confirmed ever, or even like to the point that anything is confirmed about this movie. That if you ask Kevin Feige, maybe it exists.
Yeah.
So has anything for Black Widow been confirmed except that it's being made?
Officially, no, it hasn't.
It's not
even
even
that.
saying that it's
Yeah.
being made
Because Kevin Feige, they're saving all of their big reveals for Comic-Con.
for Comic-Con.
Save for Comic-Con. And yeah, so we're at Comic-Con. I'm sure I would be shocked if there isn't a teaser trailer for Black Widow by San Diego.
I hope so.
Whether it's shown to the public or not, TBD. But I guarantee you they'll show something for this movie. They're too far along if they're already deep into physical photography. Anyway, other casting rumors this week. The Eternals cast keeps getting more ridiculous. Salma Hayek now being rumored to join
Wow.
the Eternals, which would put her in with Kumail Nanjiani. Who else did we?
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie. Well, hold on. There's more on that.
Okay.
That's interesting.
What?
Hold on.
Christian. You're not Christian. You're Zach.
Yeah.
Zach. I spent too much time with both of you.
And then, there's the idea that Keanu Reeves could end up in it. That's, sort of like a half rumor.
Richard Madden was the other one I blanked on for a moment, from Game of Thrones. So what was interesting was the person that broke this story was Umberto Gonzalez of The Wrap.
Okay.
And that's Salma Hayek in his little list of who they've been working on towards Eternals, just didn't mention Angelina Jolie.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting choice. Now, obviously, all of it's rumors. Like Angelina Jolie even being involved was a rumor. But Salma Hayek, I could totally see playing they would be great to see them together. But if you lost Angelina Jolie from the project for whatever reason, whether it's a salary dispute or a scheduling conflict, who knows? That's somebody you could put into a similar role.
Like talking about Cersei, basically. I mean, which is what everybody's kind of been thinking.
Or whoever. I'm just saying in general, those two people could play similar roles.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And have the same level of star power. I actually might say Salma Hayek has a bigger amount of star power. Maybe not internationally, but in terms of who I think is going to carry a role stronger.
I'd reverse that. I'd say internationally, she'd be a huge asset in the Spanish-speaking world. Not that people don't love Angelina Jolie, but so I think they're very similar types, though, in terms of, if you're looking for an actor. So, but maybe they're both in it. There's so little that we know about this movie.
Basically, you've got two powerful, beautiful older women.
Yeah,
and not even that much older, but older
than us.
Older than
that's all we meant.
Older than me, you mean? I'm just kidding.
Obviously.
Means you're an older one. What?
Whoa!
Those are fighting words, Zach. We're taking this outside.
Look, you can take the gray out of my beer. It's fine. Cersei is the first one that comes to mind with Salma Hayek. There's obviously a ton of different roles that you could go into. Some of the comments that they're talking about with the potential of Eternals that you've heard from people recently, I still think we're going to get a lot of Greek gods put in becoming Eternals. I think Hercules is going to be part of this movie based on some stuff that Feige said this week.
Great.
I'm just talking about the idea of the Eternals and legends that we've treated as gods being just these eternal characters. I think you're going to see a few of them. I mean, there were those characters in the Eternals to begin with. I think Hercules is one of them. I stand by it. Mark it down. I've said it before.
1:42 p.m. Thursday. Zach said that Hercules is going to be in the Eternals.
Yes. All right.
And I said he was played by Kevin Sorbo, just to be wrong.
This story came out this week, and it's one of those stories that surfaces every now and again, basically anytime anybody talks to Noah Hawley. But I always want to talk about it, so I'm fine with that. Noah Hawley said that he is still talking to Kevin Feige about his Doctor Doom movie. I'm excited.
Do you think we'll get an actual announcement for that, or are we just going to hear rumors about it for a year before we get anything?
Well, that's some combination of San Diego and D23. Before the summer is out, basically, we're going to know probably the next 5 years worth of Marvel movies. I could see this being one that could be on the tail end of that. Mm-hmm. This could be such a loud story and such an interesting and unique thing. And what Kevin Feige has talked about is the desire to make unique movies going forward in the MCU. He doesn't want to just keep doing what they've been doing. He wants to keep trying different things, which doing a prequel set, maybe potentially in the 90s with Black Widow, that's on the edge of that. But then The Eternals is going to be a huge swing. Who knows what that movie's going to look like? Yes, there are going to be sequels coming down the line for Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, but something like Doom, what was interesting to hear what Noah Hawley talking a little bit about more what he wanted to do with it. He called it a geopolitical thriller.
Oh, interesting.
He likened it to Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Which totally makes sense. You're talking about somebody running a kingdom, and he talked about this book in the past. So I wanted to show a quick the photo of it. You could bring it up, JLo. Because this is the one that has been rumored to be what he's going to draw material from, and it's one of my favorite Doctor Doom stories, Books of Doom. What this focuses on is a journalist is led into Latveria given access to Victor Von Doom. And basically, through that, as a storytelling device, you learn all about Doom's upbringing and how he came to power. Because he started as a poor Romani child who was abused by the powers that ran Latveria, got educated, became powerful, learned magic, and then wrecked the place of all the people who had hurt his family and the people that, and his, like, Romani, like, peoples. I want to see that story. It'd be so cool because you're talking about politics, you're talking about magic, you're talking about like a small child rising up to overthrow a powerful government. What don't you have in that story, you guys?
Well, I would love to see that movie. I want to see him in a Fantastic Four movie first before he gets a standalone Doom movie. I want him introduced in that way, and then we can really dig deeper into him because so that's what's missing from that movie are the Fantastic Four. But I don't think it's the same movie.
But that's an interesting thing. Like, so, well, I don't mind. I would love to see a Fantastic Four movie. And I think Doom. The problem is you've gotten 2 Fantastic Four origin movies recently.
Yes.
And both of them dealt with Victor Von Doom in the first attempt. And I don't know if you can do it right away for the Fantastic Four just to differentiate it.
That's a
but
good point.
My desire to see Doom because he has such potential, I think it's perfect timing, especially with the lens of the MCU on this, because that movie could stand alone. It was supposed to be a standalone in the Fox universe. But I think that if you were to dive into that story in sort of use Black Panther and Wakanda coming out of the shadows as a lens for this small, unknown country, this small country that nobody has been allowed into for decades or a century, and now they're letting one person in. That's a cool, because like maybe they see what Wakanda is doing. They want to open their doors a little bit. They want to play, and they're letting one person in. That's a cool angle.
It's true.
Into like way for
cool.
the MCU to incorporate outside world, but still go into the insular land that is Latveria. And then I think you tease Fantastic Four at the back of it.
Yeah. That would be a great way to get them in to start with Doom. So yeah, however they do it, I want both movies. So put out whichever one first.
Zia, what do you? So you're literally in the middle of me and Christian
Yes,
right
I
now.
am.
Literally.
So how do I feel about it?
Do you think that a Doom movie would you rather see a Doom movie first, or do you need a Fantastic Four movie to set up a Doom solo film?
I'm gonna go with I would actually rather see a Doom movie first, just because I want to be, I guess, more well versed on the character or the version of the character that they're gonna do in the MCU before we get him in Fantastic Four. And I also think that it would just add to a lot of the excitement of Fantastic Four. If you teased Fantastic Four at the end of that and you're like, holy crap, we're going to finally get that. And then you go into Fantastic Four and you know so much about the villain, you know so much about who they're up against, it kind of raises the stakes a little bit. So I think it'd be cool to see it in that order.
And I see in the chat, people are like, I see you, Ivan, calling Dr. Doom a villain. And he's not. And Noah Hawley agrees with me on this. Noah Hawley talks about Dr. Doom. It's an anti-hero story, and I'm quoting, an anti-hero story that I really like, and we're still talking about making it. He's trying to get out from this movie. I think there are morality tales on a larger scale, and it's better to be a part of that conversation than pretend that conversation isn't happening.
I like that.
And that's the thing about Dr. Doom. Yes, he is, in the classic stories in the Fantastic Four, he's a villain. But if you read books like the Books of Doom or Doctor Strange and Doom, when they had a team-up movie, which could also be a team-up book, which could also be a great story to introduce Dr. Doom with. And I would love to see Benedict Cumberbatch playing foil as they... So that story is Doctor Strange and Dr. Doom venturing into the depths of hell to save Doom's mother from Mephisto.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Can we watch that? Let's make that. I want that.
Just make that next.
Yeah.
Skip everything else.
Yes, Doom is not perfect, but there's a reason he is revered by the people of Latveria, because he protects them. He is good to the people, to his people. And that's not to say that he's also bad to other people. He is. But that's what makes him an interesting character. He's multifaceted. There's different layers to him, and that's why I love that character.
No, I like that you get
He's
that
on my
more
hat.
than just getting You have him. More than just getting good and evil when it's, and because actually most things aren't black and white. Even if you look at like really bad people, a lot of the times there are reasons they're bad. And a lot of it has to do with upbringing. And I mean, there's so many different things that could lead to characters. It's nice to see stuff explored differently. And it would be cool to see that more on a larger scale. So I think that'd just be cool in general.
Yeah.
It's different.
Speaking of Noah Hawley writing characters that could be viewed as a hero or a villain, I think we should talk about Marvel TV in Marvel TV Time. That was a sudden transition. I'm sorry, Jay.
I gotta plug my amp in.
Yeah, hold on. It's not working.
Terrible.
I have to.
Marvel
this
movie
pedal sucks.
We're talking TV time. We're in a different studio today, so I think we left our sound effects on a floppy disk in the other stage. But so it's Marvel TV time. Legion premiered this week, back for season 3. Christian, you got a chance to see it. You talked about it on the after show, correct?
Yes, I'll be on the panel for the Legion after show, which we'll be doing Mondays at 9 Pacific over on AfterBuzz TV. And yeah, I thought it was great. The show visually is always fantastic, but I'm going to say for people who don't like the show for whatever reason, it will not win you back. You'll be so infuriated by the first 20 minutes. But I thought it was fascinating. I was like exhausted. We finally got to a commercial break, and I was like, I could catch my breath. But I thought it was so cool, and I like that we're very incrementally dealing with this overall question from the end of last season. Wait, is David a bad guy, and why is everybody on Farouk's side?
Yeah. It's a time bendy, head trippy, just. It's this show in a nutshell. It begs you to question with whether what you're seeing is real, how it's not real, how it is real, what is about to happen. It's constantly in question. The way that Noah Hawley uses visuals is fascinating. And this episode, so for people who may have read this quote while it's being touted, him talking about the Doom movie, it's like he said that he's being used as Marvel's R&D department. Was the joke, and he's like, yeah, because maybe you can. They're trying to see if you can use like musicals or this or that in Marvel things, and everyone's like, does he mean the Doctor Doom movie is going to be a musical? I literally had 3 articles that thought that. It's like, no, you guys clearly did not watch the Legion premiere because there's a straight up musical number in it,
which is great,
which is not used as kitsch. It's used natively into the story. It makes sense in the moment.
Okay.
In a way that is purely Legion. No other show could do it and make it feel smooth and it part of the narrative.
Yeah, and I mean, we get a new character in it, and just how she uses her ability is just visually like so cool to watch. Just the different ways that he represents it. So if you haven't seen the season premiere of Legion, Xia, you should.
I'm definitely going to. It's a lot of TV for me to get caught up on.
Yep. All right. So real quick, unfortunately, life gets in the way. And as we were talking about, there's so much Marvel going on. So the 3 of us are all at different points now on Jessica Jones. Xia, how far have you watched?
I've seen up to episode 10.
Okay.
Let me put in the plug that right after this is over on AfterBuzz TV, Xia will be joining me on the after show for Jessica Jones, and we'll be talking about 9 and 10. I've seen through 12, and I came here instead of watching 13. But that's how dedicated I am, is that I didn't just sit home and watch the
How
last
do
part.
you guys feel with just a few episodes left? Are you enjoying Jessica Jones up to this point, right up before the finale?
I am. I like this season a lot so far. It hasn't felt draggy to me. It hasn't felt. I think last Sunday I was sick and I spent most of my night in bed, and I caught up on like 3 more episodes of it, and I was enjoying the pacing of it enough that I was like, ooh, I want to keep watching. Granted, the last couple of episodes, I think 9 and 10, they were slower. Like Christian said, you said they were more of a setup. They felt like a little bit, kind of a little filler here and there, but I didn't even really mind that so much because the characters are interesting enough to me that I actually care about the dumb little moments. So.
And I think Salinger is great. Jeremy
Fantastic.
Bobb, the actor who plays him, and I think he's a great foil. And I hope that we see more of that actor. I mean, obviously, there's no more Jessica Jones, so but there'll be other places that I hope we see him. But he's going to kind of always have to play a creep. Sorry, dude.
I know. Is he typecast as a psychopath now?
By the way, yes.
Because he
is.
plays a great psychopath.
Doesn't have to. A good actor can overcome that.
You can see
him playing a sleazy politician.
That's
too.
You're right. He would be great. But this is one of the better complete. I haven't even seen the last part, but it didn't, like you said, it didn't lag. And I think some of the Marvel Netflix seasons, there is a point where you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna spin our wheels for a little bit. But I think this one it works great for me.
All right, and yeah, I finished the show, and I'm not gonna ruin anything for you guys. There's some stuff at the end. The stuff that they do with Trish in this season. It was hard to say.
Say that 5 times fast.
Trish in this season. Nope, I'm not gonna keep going. But it was phenomenal, and it was a true finish and an arc for that character that you could track across all 3 seasons of this show. Yeah. There's a moment, there's a scene that if you guys have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about in the finale. That is just a perfect way to cap this show from back to front.
Right.
And like I've said, if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, you just know I liked a scene.
Yeah.
But it's a strong show. I believe on Sunday for Marvel TV Weekly.
Yes.
This will be we will be able to talk about all of them.
Yeah, I won't be there. So you guys can talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Well, Zia, I'll come back. I'll come join you, and we'll talk about the finale of Jessica Jones.
And
we'll just fangirl out.
We're going to talk more about Legion, too.
Yes,
we'll get in depth about that, because I need to get caught up on that also.
And we talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Marvel TV Weekly this past Sunday. Trivia episode. Zia, what did you think of it?
Oh, I loved it. I love this episode. I love that it was okay. So this is my first season. I'm in love.
Real quick. You got 1 minute.
I'm in love with both Fitz and Simmons, and I'm in love with Fitzsimmons.
Exactly.
So it was really great for me. This was a really fun episode. It was really trippy. I liked how they incorporated some of like their past and their demons into it in like a really interesting kind of way that they're trapped in their own minds. Really cool premise. Really cool show. Yeah, I liked it.
I enjoyed the episode, Christian and I, when we talked about just my thoughts. I really loved the Fitz and Simmons and really focusing in on those characters. I love the stuff that we saw in the past. We get to see a little bit more of them from before. I wish they had spent time earlier in the season to establish something about what Elizabeth Henry referred to as Demon Gemma.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like it was sudden and out of nowhere for me, which hurt the episode for me personally. Leopold was so well known to us and the demon riding with Fitz that we totally saw it. But then Gemma's was like, wait, what's the problem? Like, yes, Gemma has a darkness to her. She has since the first season of the show. But I wish, like, when she was having the drug trip episode, when she's freaking out, she would have been like, just put it in the box, just put it in the box, just put it in the box.
That's true.
Something like that, where like
to set it up.
Where we knew that it was coming. Or it felt like it had been there and wasn't just a way to give her something dark.
Got it. I see what you're saying.
Manifestation. Real quick, I want to do a Doom's Question Corner because we always want to try to do those when we can and get at least one question in an episode, even though we don't always have time.
We try.
But we try. And this one is from Daniel Drew, who sent me this question at some point. I forget exactly where, but I wanted to talk about it. He wants to know who we might cast as Mephisto in the MCU.
I know that Zach and I had the exact same answer.
So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because, one, talking about the Doom thing, and Doom and Mephisto do have a specific dynamic, but we also could see him on television coming up in that. Like, I don't know if you want to bend like the Hellstrom story so that you can combine Satan and Mephisto because they're more or less the same. Yeah. Yes, I know they're not identical, but they're both the devil. And you already have Surtur running around. So there's lots of devils out in the MCU. There's lots of devils in the Marvel comics. So, yeah, we both had the same initial thought, which is Keanu Reeves would be a great Mephisto.
I think so. I would like to see him play more of a villainous character, just because we don't really get that. He's pretty much always the hero. I'm trying to think of a time that he hasn't been, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a movie, but I think he could be a great one. He's got the acting chops for it. He's got the dark, rugged handsomeness. They could totally use that.
Well, and he would do a good job of selling, like, I'm a little bit misunderstood, my past, but, I'm just here I'm like a businessman. I had an outside the box thought. When you asked me, Zach, I immediately thought, Dave Navarro, the musician, because he looks like the devil.
That's
and
genius.
once I thought it, I'm like, I can't imagine. Look, Keanu Reeves sounds great. I can't see anybody else as Mephisto now that I have it in my head.
I don't even know if he can act, but I still want to
It's
see
fine.
that.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
Just be himself.
He'll just have a guitar. It's
Yeah.
fine.
You know who else could be really cool? Just so that we have at least 3 options
Yeah.
going here. John Malkovich.
Oh, I could see that.
That would be the
He's
very
great.
reasoned, matter of fact.
John
Mephisto.
Malkovich, yeah, and it all depends on what version you want to
Yeah.
take. Like, there's a much more evil version, which I could see. I know I've thrown him out there for Victor Von Doom, but if he doesn't take that part, I could see Javier Bardem playing a fantastic take on Mephisto.
You know who else I could see? And I know I probably mentioned him for everything, but Idris Elba. I think he would make a great Mephisto, too. He's got a real, like, dark presence to him that I think he could, like, pull that off really well.
He would be good. He would be good. He's kind of in the MCU.
I know, but who cares?
Not anymore.
He's not anymore. He's dead, and also you can make him look different. The hair and the
That's
outline,
fair.
just take that all off. And
That's fair. I'm just
put
saying.
him in a suit, give him some red devilly eyes. Oh man.
I'm just saying, don't forget Heimdall. Let us never forget Heimdall.
I love Heimdall like a lot. That was really sad for me, but we should still put Idris Elba in everything.
Heimdall forever.
Agreed.
I mean, he's got his role as the Black Superman.
Yeah.
Which is a quote from Hobbs and Shaw. I didn't make that. That wasn't a weird reference. That's like a specific line from an upcoming movie.
I'm going to see that because he's in it.
Fun fact, I've never seen a Fast and the Furious movie.
You know what? I haven't either, but I think I want to see that because I like him so much.
I really want to
Yeah.
see that, but I feel like at this point, it's like one day I'm just going to watch all of them, and I can't just start with Hobbs and Shaw, can I? I don't know. Tell us in the chat whether I should start with Hobbs and Shaw on that completely unrelated topic. Anyway, guys, thank you.
Let me just throw in
Sorry.
from the chat, Jackie Earl Haley. He's great as, I mean, I liked him as Freddy Krueger in the reboot that most people didn't, so
I
he'd be
was
great.
looking at how do you say his name? Ralph Fiennes.
Ray
Ray
Fiennes would be good, too.
Fiennes. Ray Fiennes.
He's
I
always
get
good.
that wrong.
Yeah.
I think he'd be great too.
We've
that was
seen him be
Jenna James,
villainous.
sorry.
We've seen him
Gamer
be
Girl.
villainous a few times in 8 movies.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us here on Marvel Movie News. We will be back not next week because it's July 4th, but next week on Sunday, July 7th, to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home with all the spoilers, and Coy Jandro joining us here live in the studio. Stay tuned for the exact timing as we work it out with scheduling to make sure that we can bring it to you. Until next week, guys, I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. And also be sure to check out my other podcast, Ships in the Night, where I take weird cross-fandom characters and just ship them together. What's their love story? We're going to write them. There's so many weird things. We talked about Detective Pikachu and Sherlock hooking up. We talked about Sansa Stark and Mr. Freeze hooking up. That's what you want to know what's west of Westeros? Gotham. Gotham is west of Westeros.
All right.
Get the story on Ships in the Night. Christian.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And as I mentioned right after this show, Zia and I will be talking about Jessica Jones Season 3, Episodes 9 and 10 over on AfterBuzz TV. And I will not be there this Sunday, but Zia and Zach will be there on Marvel TV Weekly this Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific, also on AfterBuzz TV.
All right, guys, this has been Marvel Movie News. Thanks for geeking out with us.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.